The illustrious Jabba bids you welcome. I'm going to regret this.
I'm Pete Mitchell. He's Peyton Jones. And this is the Church Planter Podcast, brought to you by Church Planter Magazine.
Hey, Church Planter. This is Pete Mitchell.
And this is Peyton Jones.
And we've got some great smack talk today, apparently.
We do. And I am actually having my first real cup of coffee because I've drank 2 fake cups of coffee. I had a
caffeine.
What do you
free?
call this? No, you know those Keurig things. They don't touch me. You know?
That's all I have is Keurig things. Are you serious? You don't like them?
Yeah, no, they don't. The caffeine level on that doesn't touch me. I make a bucket of mud every morning. I drink said
That's
bucket
funny
of
because
mud.
My Keurig things, I actually get the little Keurig inserts or whatever they're called from the local weed shop. So my coffee's always really good.
Why do you got to take it there every week? Respectable pastors show up to this podcast thinking, I want to learn about church planting. And right away you're like, let me hold you at arm's length, friend.
But it's not illegal in California, so I don't see what the problem is. God made the plant.
Hey, we're recalling Gavin Newsom.
Dude, I really hope we do. Jamie's like, you have to find. Can we download the paperwork and sign it and send it in?
Tesla left. Everybody's leaving. Who's he going to tax now?
Well, the funny thing is California is still growing.
Yeah.
Because of births.
He shut down. Yeah, it's growing, and he shut down the 5th biggest economy in the world.
It's just people with money are leaving.
Politics.
That's the problem. People with money.
Well, he didn't personally believe in it, so he kept doing his thing and meeting and throwing parties while he shut down the economy for political purposes. And meanwhile, he's not helping the big businesses he's supposed to be taxing because they hate him and they're leaving. So he's wrecking California.
It depends. Target, Walmart,
yes,
every grocery store is loving that dude.
Oh, absolutely.
We're the only place you can shop. Sweet.
Shop here. That's what I'm saying. So all these shutdowns, when people are like, "Oh, well, no, it's benefiting people." Make no mistake, it is definitely benefiting businesses, and not to wax political because. For me, to me, this is apolitical. Just because you're talking on something that, I'm talking economy. I'm really not trying to talk politics here. I'm trying to get into the economy a little bit. I'm just, after living outside of this country for 12 years, in a year like this year, to watch now that the election has gone the other way, to watch the flip-flop of the media and people on Facebook is insane to me. I mean, I'm listening to an audible right now about a woman who was very liberal, who served as Margaret Thatcher's right-hand woman, right? She was the only other woman on her cabinet, and she was totally liberal. She actually states at the beginning of the book, when she first meets Margaret Thatcher, she's thinking, this lady's so nice, but she doesn't know. She's the reason I entered politics, was to fight people like her. And yet she fell in love with her as a woman, but totally disagreed with her policies, and yet was a speechwriter for her. That's in British politics. It's the country that gets put forward. And there is more of a balance of power and not this weird thing we've created in this nation that just still to me boggles my frickin' mind. There's a time clock ticking for us. It can't keep going on this way.
No,
if this were a marriage and I were a pastor, if this were a marriage,
that's crazy.
If this were a marriage and I were a pastor, I'd be staying up awake all night praying, oh God, intervene, Holy Spirit, intervene, because I'd be like, despite my best counseling efforts, these guys aren't going to make it unless Jesus intercedes and a freaking miracle happens. And that's where this it almost seems like irreconcilable differences, which is the not only a Drew Barrymore film, for those of you children of the 80s, you're welcome, but also
It was called Irreconcilable Differences?
Yeah, it sure was.
Really?
It's where she divorced her parents. Yeah, it was the next movie she starred in after E.T. And we all wanted to watch it, but it wasn't for kids. So, yeah.
Which, by the way, it was really funny. I don't know if I shared this on the podcast, but Luke was describing one of his friends at school. And he goes, well, their parents are like The Parent Trap, only they didn't get back together at the end.
Oh, no. That's funny.
I actually thought it was hilarious. I'm like, oh, so he's learning about divorce there by his friends at school. Gotcha.
Well, I want to point out for those of you on Facebook Live that are watching this, there is my brother's Christmas present to me.
Why aren't you wearing it? I don't understand.
Shouldn't I? I should. Look, dude, it's a lot of effort. It's way over there. I'm still on my first cup of coffee. I just don't have the energy level to reach back and put that on at the moment. I'm not feeling it.
What did you think of last week's Mandalorian episode?
Okay. It was okay.
What?
I know.
Wait. What?
So Barry Waters goes, hey, did you watch it? And I watched it the night before last. I was a little bit late this week. And I was like, I had a high expectation. He's like, dude. And I'm like,
his face again. Come on.
Yeah. I was disappointed by that. I mean, wasn't. He did what he had to do.
I think they're doing it because they're like, you know what? We can't keep going like 10 seasons without showing his face again.
They so totally could. They could have never, ever, ever showed Boba Fett's face, and I wouldn't have ever given a flying rip.
I think he's starting to realize I'm part of a cult.
Well, that's kind of what that was a clever move on behalf of Filoni to say, hey, he's part of a cult.
Because it didn't match any of the
right.
Mandalorian lore. So,
and I like that tension, and I did appreciate that was kind of touching that in order to get Baby Yoda, Grogu, to blasphemously quote the new direction, I actually felt like that was touching. He actually violated his code to save Baby Yoda, if that's what it's going to take.
I thought the Stormtrooper outfits were awesome. Like, I really liked the design of what they were wearing.
The gray things?
Yeah.
Or the brown ones?
No, the gray things.
Yeah, those are cool. It was kind of like the AT-AT commander. Remember the AT-AT commander? Yeah. But he had no visor. Right. It was that same kind of deal, wasn't it?
But the part that I was like, okay, this is ridiculous, is when he takes off his helmet and never bothers to put it back on. And everyone's like, yeah, this is normal. Stormtroopers take off their helmet all the time. It's like, no, they don't. He's literally the only Stormtrooper we've ever seen with his helmet off.
Right. Except for Luke and Han.
They weren't Stormtroopers.
I know.
See how that works?
I do.
You see how that works? I do.
But you see how that works back at you. Like, hey, we can have that. We have that. Stormtrooper bodies, hero heads.
And Gina Carrera, or whatever her name is in the show,
she's awesome, dude.
Is that a rebel tattoo she's got on her face? I think
so. Yeah, dude. I am so into her character. Like, I don't know anything about her outside of Star Wars except that she's an MMA fighter. I read
she's
an
MMA,
article,
and I've seen a bunch of movies with her.
I haven't. I've never seen her in anything, but she so works for me. I keep saying, man, and it's not like I don't think she's attractive or anything, because Andrew's like, oh, you like her? And I'm like, no.
Honestly, she's not attractive, in my opinion.
But here's the thing. She is so believable as a tough, strong woman, which Hollywood always tries to get by someone saying, I'm a bad, and then
they usually try and get like the hottest chick ever, and then putting a hat on her and going, oh, look, she's tough.
Yeah, and getting her tattoos and having her like emaciated and and then she's like, she struts around and like has an attitude and talks harshly to men. This chick is just tough.
Yeah, this chick looks tough.
And she is tough. Like, there's an authentic, this is a strong, tough woman coming through here.
Right.
She's not acting this. She is this, and she fits this role so perfectly. I'm not in any way threatened as a male, because this is one of the things in this book about Margaret Thatcher that I absolutely love, is they keep bringing up, the dynamics between powerful women and insecure men. and how they, I mean, I absolutely love these dynamics, hearing about that. But it's not a given that if you have a strong woman, that men are going to be threatened by it. There's always a dynamic, but this chick, you're like, oh yeah, you could kick my butt. Like everybody that's around her knows, except for the Mandalorian, you could pretty much kick my butt. I loved when Bill Burr's character goes, oh, you look like you're a bunch of fun. And that was a throwback to, he goes, I'd love to see you drive that, because you seem like you'd be a bunch of fun in one of those. And then your mind goes back to when she was driving it a couple episodes back in that one complex.
I don't even remember.
She was driving one of those transports inside the mining colony, and that was pretty good. Yeah. I like the dynamics that the Empire's underground. That's pretty cool.
Oh, is that what you took that as? Is they're underground now?
No, well, they're underground. They're building. He was like, look, while the Republic is waning, we are growing stronger. They're like, it was a secret base. It was a secret mining camp. The Empire is out.
How do you think the Empire gets? How do you think the Empire gets any money?
Through harvesting Grogu's. No, I think, well, they're mining, right? Like they're building.
They're
their
mining,
strength.
but they need it to build their own stuff and to fuel their own equipment.
Well, this is the First Order. This is the birth of the First Order that we're watching, correct?
Probably, but my point is, I'm just wondering, in a real world scenario, you have to pay all of those stormtroopers,
right?
You have to feed all of those stormtroopers.
If it's the birth of the First Order, then the Emperor is actually getting, he has that ancient Sith society, and they're just loaded to the gills. I would imagine they're richer than the Republic.
Where are you pulling this from? Oh, this is in a comic book I read back in 5th grade.
There's a whole amphitheater of like ghost people. I would imagine there's a bunch of stuff we don't know.
And they all set up
there's
trusts.
A whole cult.
They all set up trusts so that
501c3s and whatnots.
Charitable remainder trust. I mean, it's all set up.
Hey, stop using that big math language with me, Pete Mitchell. I'm the non-math planter, whatever I am.
So tell me, what's this I hear about a murder you solved?
Oh, nothing.
Hey,
nothing.
Scoob. Hey, Scoob, tell me about the murder you solved.
Like gazoinks, man. Like, wow, Scoob. Oh, I can't do it. I used to be able to do a great Shaggy. So, this is trippy. It's weird to say this on the podcast because I really, there's a part of me goes, I don't want to go public with this, but there was a pretty brutal murder a couple of weeks ago in Carlsbad, where I live, where a woman was hiking on a trail and she was brutally stabbed. And they were saying for a few weeks that it was a homeless person who did it. Turns out it was a 17-year-old kid.
Oh my gosh.
And he was outside my house on Monday. And the worker who works on my house was like, he was like, hey, he was leaving. He was like, hey, Peyton, he never calls me. So I thought there was an accident or something. I was going to pick up the kids from school. And he calls and says, hey, there's this guy, he's kind of strange, he's drinking beers and stuff. And he was describing, and he said, he's a young kid, but I had a really bad feeling about him. Well, it turns out my worker is from Peru. He used to be an armored car driver. So he was telling me, he's like, dude, I've been trained to like, the next day when I told him, dude, that dude was the murderer. Because what happened is he calls me, I call my wife. He wanted to get on the property. That was the other thing, is he was
the kid wanted to get on the property.
Yeah. He was saying, hey, can you take me and show me the house, because it's getting worked on. He's like, I need a job, maybe you could get me a job. And they're speaking Spanish together. And Ricky's like, no, blah, blah, blah. And then my neighbor saw the interaction between them. And he was like, that's really weird. Sorry about that.
And those of you who are wondering, yes, Peyton really is having his house worked on.
That's him. That's Ricky in the background, my worker. I like to say nowadays, I have a man who does that for me.
You got to say it like this. I have a manservant.
Yes. Hecubus, my loyal manservant, kids in the hall, shout out. So, servant of evil. But, anyways, I called Andrea and I said, hey, if you wouldn't mind, like, just go look outside the gate. Just want to make sure you're safe. There's a guy out there. Ricky says he's creepy. Ricky's taking off for the day. Just lock up. Maybe if you need to call the police, call the police. If just, it was just
Make
out
sure
of
the
character.
12 gauge has extra ammo in it, on it, and around it.
Yeah. And what she actually did, she sent the Doberman out.
Oh,
And
nice.
she didn't send him out onto the street. She sent him out the yard, and Abby went nuts. So she calls the cops anyways. And she goes, I felt really stupid calling the cops. But because we call the cops you have no idea what a hot spot this is.
Well, I can imagine you got literally the train tracks on the side of your house.
Exactly.
You got a huge apartment building right behind you.
Yeah. So, she calls and they tell her, we know who it is from the description. Stay inside. Don't interact. They send a chopper.
Oh my gosh.
They send the chopper. They don't just send a patrol. I come down the street. There's 3, like the SUVs, the police SUVs, 3 of those rolling back up the street, returning from a house. And I tried to wave one down because normally I know most of these guys because they've been here so much. I'm on like first name basis with like the HOTS team, which is a homeless outreach. And so, and I wave them down. They just blow past me. I'm like, oh. So I get home. I say to Andrea, what's up? She's like, he took off. I sent Abby out and he took off. But I called the cops. And she's like, Peyton, they knew him. They're looking for him. And I said, oh. Well, anyways.
Aren't you glad you got a Doberman right then?
Oh, dude, I'm telling you. God was looking.
Come
I'm
on,
glad
Zoe,
I have
hurry up and get big.
Hey,
hurry up.
Hey,
put on some pounds.
Hey, I'm glad I have a Ricky. Right. I mean, Ricky was telling me he used to like drive armored transport cars to the airport. And he's like, yeah, one time I was in this shootout. These guys in Peru were trying to pull off a heist with one of the airplanes, with the contents of the airplanes. He's like, look, he showed me a bullet wound. Now, hopefully Ricky's wasn't on the wrong side of this heist. And I'm getting it. But his whole point was, he was like, Peyton, I was trained. That's why I knew that there was something up with him, because I was trained to recognize when someone's bad news. So anyways, God was totally looking after us, man, because, I was gone for like 45 minutes to pick up my daughters. But in that time, that's when it happened. In fact, I actually passed the dude. And as I passed him, he said hello to me when I was getting into my car to leave. And he was walking. He had a skateboard. And I remember saying to my brother, who my brother's seen a lot of stuff in his day. And I said, weird thing is he seemed really nice. And my brother goes, they always do. Yeah. And so here's the thing. That night, my neighbor texts and says, hey, she goes, coincidence? And it's the headline that they caught the murder suspect. And it was like minutes after Andrea had called, like maybe 15, 20 minutes. So they got him quick. I know from the newspaper article where they got him. I know the route he took to get there. And then it turns out he was 17, so they can't release any information because he's a minor. But I have a friend who knows someone working on the case. And just to be 100% sure, they texted each other and they said, yeah. The call came from my house that led to his arrest. So it is 100% the dude. Wow. Because the cops won't tell you anything. You know what I mean? Yeah. But so dude literally nabbed a murder on Monday. Kind of trippy, huh?
Man, I'm just glad you guys had the Doberman who's put on enough weight that she looks like a threat.
Oh, dude, she's not even full grown right now.
I know, but I mean, she's put on like Zoe right now. I'm looking at her. She's just a lover. She's like all of 15, 16 pounds right now.
You should have seen this FedEx guy the other day when Abby came out. He comes in, he sees Roxy, and Roxy's 13, and she's like this little like Staffordshire pit bull from Wales. She's not that big. And he goes, oh, dog okay? And I'm just in the process of saying, oh, she's fine. And I just get these words out of my mouth. It's the puppy you got to watch out for. Well, who comes around the corner? But Miss Abby, who's probably about 3/4 size right now, you know, you should have seen that dude did a flash dance routine. Feel the music. Oh my gosh. He even let out some high pitched noises that I don't want to humiliate him, but dude, it was funny. And I've never seen a dude back out in a flash dance routine out of gate and slam it. Like he shut it. Like he had one arm like completing the dance maneuver and the other one shutting the gate and making these high pitched squeals like whoop-oo. You know, it was awesome.
Did he smile afterwards, or is your house now on the blacklist? All FedEx packages got to be picked up at the facility.
Well, so next week I will have a surprise for you, my friend. Actually, I have to wait a couple weeks. It would be in Christmas holidays, but I may have ordered, and I may have mentioned this. I did mention I bought the Razor Crest. What I have not yet told you is I purchased. When I was writing the textbook, that's all I could do. I couldn't go shopping. I couldn't leave the house. I kept buying nerd things. So
we all couldn't. It was called COVID.
So I bought this nerd thing, and it was one of another. I say the Razor Crest was my reward for the book, but I wrote 2, Pete. So I got to buy myself 2 rewards. The other thing that I bought was a Gentle Giant life-size replica of Grogu, known as Baby Yoda. It's known as the child that arrives from FedEx pretty soon. So I'm hoping he will come into my yard and deliver said.
Is he just going to throw the box over the gate? Just.
I hope not, because it would hurt the child. He does not come in an egg or a what do you call it? The floating
what you're talking about,
baby pram, whatever you call that. But yeah, so I will have my child. So the next room to get drywalled is mine, which is going to suck for recording. This is great for recording. I mean, it's like all this padded studio. But I cough
really
nonstop.
Bad for your lungs.
Oh my gosh, dude! Yeah, wasn't it you that goes, "Hey, dummy"? Yeah, I shouldn't be in here. I have to keep telling my neighbors, "I don't have COVID. I don't have COVID."
I got fiberglass up on the walls, and nothing protected me from it.
Pretty much, my wife knows I'm a moron, and we pretty much, she's capitalized, but she has good life insurance on me. So, anyways. To Catch a Killer. That is the name of today's episode. And culture. Oh. Okay, Pete's bringing his dog up here. Oh,
here
hi. Hi. Put the earphone in her ear. Hello, baby. Hello, baby. Oh, look at she smiled. She smiled. She likes my voice.
See, I got my little soul patch. She got her little soul patch.
Dude, she's beautiful.
That's how we
so
roll.
Gorgeous. Dude, she's like the eternal puppy.
She's put on. She's probably doubled in weight since she had parvo. And that was
what I love.
Weeks ago.
What I love, Pete, is you have obviously lost some battle in your home because that dog is wearing a pink bow and a pink.
She's a girl.
Gold studded collar. You have lost a battle, my friend. Princess Leia collars. There's so many options.
I told Jamie, I go, look, I'm going to get her a pink collar, but it's going to have the little metal spikes on it.
I love it.
That's what I'm going to get her.
She's going to be an 80s punker.
Oh yeah. Come on.
I love
Come
it.
on, Zoe, quit eating my headphone cord.
She's awesome, dude. She's so cute.
Yep. For those of you who don't know, she's
dog,
a pit bull. She's a pit bull mix, so she's getting bigger.
Oh, she's biting the mic, dude. Look at that. She's biting the mic.
Check.
She's biting you. So anyway, now she's biting your hand. She is honestly the cutest dog I've ever seen. She is cuter than my dog. I didn't buy my dog to be cute, but that is one cute puppy, dude. Sorry.
I bought my dog to snuggle with. She's my snuggle buddy.
Dude, she's beautiful, man.
Whenever Jamie shows up, she goes into play mode. When Luke shows up, she goes into aggressive play mode. When I show up, she's like, oh, I'm just supposed to lay next to you. She just jumps up on the chair, cuddles in my arms. She's like, okay, that's what I'm supposed to do with you.
Oh, so good, dude.
Why are you eating the mic? Why are you eating the mic?
She's eating the mic. Well, hey, should we get into our topic? We're about halfway through.
Great Scott. It's time for this week's topic. Let's get down to the nitty gritty.
Arf. I figured I'd add that because,
From now on, that's now a permanent part of our podcast. All right, kid, get down.
So
every time I call her kid, around Mackenzie. Mackenzie goes, "She's not a kid."
I wish we had our sound. I found myself this week wishing we had still our what do you call it? Our
soundbite.
Yeah.
The sound effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah. So, anyways,
it will never happen again.
Yeah.
I have to have a different mic setup in order to do that. That's why.
Zoe says hello. So I would love to do whatever we got to do, but I got to wait till I get into my new digs, my new office. I'm actually going to set up for filming a little bit better in here. I would like to get my ugly mug on a video camera and do more video stuff, but make it quick and easy so I could just get on there. I found, so no kidding, Tuesday was my 10-year anniversary of being back in America. And I went back, dude, I found all these videos that I did like months being back. I started making videos and then I just got shy. I was like, I don't want to be on camera. And I was like, you dummy. That was blue ocean back then. If I had in 2011 actually just started going for it on YouTube, like I had planned, and I wasn't doing it to be famous. I was like, oh, I'm going to fill a void. I'm going to talk to church planners, I'm going
to do it to sell books.
I wasn't thinking that. I was just literally thinking, I just want to help people with what I know. And and I didn't do it. So anyways.
All right. So we're going to talk about the topic or we just...
You want it?
My dog is bringing over her... I wish I could show you. She got a little bear.
Oh, show me, dude.
I can't.
Take it from her.
Dude, if I start, she's going to think I'm playing and it's on.
Oh, yeah. Yipe, yipe, yipe. Rawr, rawr, rawr.
Nice. Perfect timing for that. Yeah. I love it.
Should I tell Ricky to shut up?
Every time you say that, all I can think of is my last dog.
Hey, Ricky, you're so fun. When he does good work, I sing to him.
I really wish that wasn't true, but I'm pretty sure
it's 100% true.
Yeah.
If I come in and he's done like really good work, I'm like, oh, Ricky, you're so fun. You're so fun. You blow my mind. Hey, Ricky.
Does he have any idea what you're doing? Or is he just like...
All he listens to is 80s music. So I usually walk into the room when he's working and I'll take up like today he was listening to Depeche Mode, Blasphemous Rumors. And so I came in singing that. And when I die, I expect to see him laughing. And he'll sing with me. It's pretty funny. There's like a bond for people that listen to 80s music, So he's got Duran playing all that. So he's on like some Spotify channel that's all 80s. Dude, I'm sorry about this noise. But welcome to the Church Planner Podcast, everybody. There's nothing to do. So I told him I have an exponential thing going on. And I'm like, dude, you got to stop during that. Not for this one. No.
Hey, I would just like to say that anybody that's bothered by the sound of this, we will be happy to give you your money back.
Amen. Absolutely. And it's like, come on, Ricky, what are you doing, man? Cut your board right the first time. It's drywall. He's got the multi-tool out. He's trimming something. I know what he's doing. I hung it with him for a few. Okay. So, all right. So let's get into this because I'm recording now. I said that just in case he hears that.
I didn't even hear what you said the topic was going to be.
It was going to be culture and contextualization today. But, we did cover that a year ago. I actually want to kind of ditch that last minute like I do and talk to you about forward planning for 2022. I saw a meme the other day that said, all I want for Christmas is 2021. And then it was like, I think.
Yeah.
Because 2021, I got news for you. Ain't going to be any better.
That said 2021 on top, and the O's were made from masks that were stretched out. And then it said 2021, and the one was a needle.
Oh, that's funny. Well, guys, here's the problem with that kind of thinking. Like, there's no imaginary breakpoint at the new year that ends all things. Like, that's a construct for us. The reality is we have now let we've opened Pandora's box. We've let the proverbial cat out of the bag. The amount of stupid that has gone on this year on both sides of political spectrums. I mean, just the crap that's going on. We're in a new level of ridiculousness as a country. Logic, moral fortitude, all this stuff has just gone out the window. So buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy. Is going to be a bumpy ride this year. So in that case, we'll come back to culture. We'll talk about that again next year. But for now, in the week leading up to Christmas, I don't know about you guys, but I get really pensive in the winter. In fact, I'm reading a book right now called Wintering. It's about those seasons in life where, in the same way that the world shuts down in nature, things kind of go dormant, and that nature itself kind of like goes deep within itself and it gets ready for this burst of growth in the spring. This woman in Britain wrote this book called Wintering to say that people need this too, right? And that's true. I mean, mental health tells you that. Jesus, you study Jesus, he did many retreats and things like that. You can see that. Even Paul is stopped at times to be put in prison and locked up and slowed down. And so we would call that practice wintering, where you just kind of pull back a little bit like nature does, and you prep yourself for a new season. Now, nobody likes wintering. Wintering can come in different forms, different scenarios. Like, for example, she starts off the book talking about how her husband gets diagnosed with cancer. And it stops her whole world. She's a university lecturer. It stops her whole world overnight. She doesn't go to work anymore. She takes paid leave. She's back and forth to the hospital. She's like, everything that was important to me, like the day before we got that news, suddenly wasn't important afterwards. And so that was the beginning of where she said, that was a winter for me, a wintering, where I had to stop and reevaluate all of my priorities. And so I do this to a certain degree. And the reason I'm doing the topic today is going to be not wintering, but it's going to be taking stock, which is what I like to do at the beginning of any new year. Now, as long as I can remember, for not just since I've been an adult, but even like from when I was a teenager, definitely the entire time I've been a Christian, at the new year, I reflect. I come before God. I reflect. I look over the past year. And part of this was inspired by Jonathan Edwards, who had his resolutions. He had 70 resolutions that he made before God. And, it was resolved to do such and such, or to seek God, like blah, blah, blah. So he had all these resolutions, and I was inspired by that as a very young man. I think I was in my teens. I read it. I was like, man, I want to do that, because I respected Jonathan Edwards. So I have always at New Year's spent ample time in prayer, fasting, seeking the Lord, and it has always been a key component to whatever I do in life. So take that with a grain of salt. Maybe it's something you've never done. Maybe it's something you don't believe in. Maybe it's, whatever. I mean, New Year's resolutions, people take them or leave them, and I don't care about that. But I make resolutions every year, and I take stock. So like this past week, when it turned out my 10 years, I look back over the past 10 years. And there are various ways I did that. One of the things it is, I look back over all my photos over the last 10 years. I didn't spend long on it, maybe an hour, and just skim through them, like to see a pattern. What was I doing? And
I could tell you what mine would look like. There'd be a burst of car photos.
No. First underwear.
Well, underoos specifically.
Underoos, yeah.
Then it would be all Dodge Chargers. Then it would be all guns. And then it would be all me working out. Like that
so
would be
true.
Yeah.
That is so 150% true. And for me, it was really interesting. I had a couple breakthroughs that sometimes when you're seeking the Lord for the future, he doesn't speak to you about the future. I find that often God's will is kind of like a wave that takes you and you don't know you don't understand the tides. You don't understand, whether it's high tide, low tide, where it's going to break on the shore or whatever, how far are you going to, you just know you're on a tide. And if I look back over my life, the wave picks me up and it puts me wherever in the heck it wants. It washes me on whatever beach I'm supposed to be on. So seeking the Lord for the future, I found is a sticky wicket, because God often doesn't talk to me about the future. He often speaks to me about the past, and he often speaks to me about the present. And the future takes care of itself, like Jesus says. Today has enough worries of its own. And God really spoke to me this week about the past, and it helped me gain some clarity for the future. So what I would say is take stock of the past. And if you read the Old Testament, and I hope you do, you'll know that God constantly reminds his people of the past. So when Moses talks, he goes, hey, you guys remember that you were slaves in Egypt and you did this and you did that, Deuteronomy, he parks them to the mountain. He goes over their last 40 years so that they can learn what to do in the future. So I take stock of my past year. There's just multiple touch points in the Old Testament where they do the same thing. When Hezekiah comes, he breaks out the scroll. Daniel, he goes over the past and he reads Jeremiah and he confesses all the sins. So these things are really helpful. And so when I was looking back over the past 10 years, which is kind of like a macro evaluation, the last decade of my life, questions come up like, what I've been doing the last 10 years, is that what I want to do in the next 10 years? The last 10 years, what mistakes have I made? The last 10 years.
One of those would clearly be the Church Planner podcast.
Oh, for sure. That was my breakthrough. So as I looked over the past 10 years, it was really helpful to think through, all right, what do I want my impact? What do I want my influence? What do I want my life to look like? What do I want my walk with God to look like? Where's my walk with God been shallow? Or where has my focus been wrong? And it's really easy to see when you look back over a long period of time, but it takes intentionality to slow down and do it. So this is what I'm saying, church planner. Your church plant is not as important as your life. Your life matters more to God than your church plant. Your soul matters more to God than your church plant does, because your church plant is separate. If you see your church plant correctly, it's a bunch of other people's souls. But in order to minister, so not the church, not the entity, not the organization, not the nonprofit, that thing that you're planting doesn't matter. All that matters is of the souls. You can't lead other people's souls and win other people's souls if you're not looking to your own soul, right? That's why Jesus said to the Pharisees, physician, heal thyself, right? You've got to, and that's why Paul said the hardworking farmer should be the first to partake of the crops. So if you're doing all this ministry, you're the first one that ought to be feeding on what you're growing, right? You need to be the first one to be eating whatever it is you're dishing out. So this time is really important. So a couple things. I want to run through some of the things that I look at over the years. One of the first things I look at is, how am I seeking God? What things have helped me? So I know personally that what helps me is in the same as what helps other people, but what helps me is to read books. As stupid as that sounds, I need prayer, obviously, like everyone else. And one of the things that I really like at this stage in my life, as stupid as it sounds, is I like guided prayer. So the Book of Common Prayer is as weird as that. I've told you guys before, I'm a closet Anglican. Nobody knows that, but deep inside, like if I go to worship, every once in a while I'll sneak into a church that has, high liturgical or high church worship, which would be more like sitting, standing, kneeling, reciting the Apostles' Creed, doing all that kind of stuff. as dumb as that sounds to most people, and I get it, I hear it, I love that. I love connecting to an ancient form of worship that people have had throughout the centuries that is highly doctrinal, highly intelligent, highly confessional. That's what I love about it. I actually find modern contemporary worship services, although they're free, they're very shallow. And I love the depth that a high, now I wouldn't plan a church like that at this present time. I would love to, but I haven't been called to do that at this stage of my life. Maybe I will be, but like I know the Anglicans, one of the things I love is Anglicans are on fire in church planning. There's an email I get called Church for the Sake of Others. And it's
what a great title, by the way.
Yeah, it's C4SO is the name of and it's Church for the Sake of Others. The Anglicans are absolutely on fire. The cool thing about the Anglicans is the Anglicans don't have any set, they're very free, right? But they bond and organize around the gospel. That's the key. So what other people think of when they say evangelical in the pure sense of the word, not like American evangelical, but evangelical doctrinally is what an Anglican actually embodies. It's the gospel. Everything else is on the table. But because the gospel is so strong in that tradition, they're like, we don't care what form you use, but we have this if you want to follow it. So going back, without getting totally off, because I do want to talk liturgy coming up, which everybody has a liturgy, just means work of the people. It's how people worship is what it literally means. But it's how people participate. But I'm talking about my own soul. So I am putting together almost like if you went to a fitness guru and they said, we're going to come together, we're going to come up with a personal fitness plan for you. I'm currently crafting 2021's spiritual fitness program for Peyton. And that's what I'll be doing this year is I'll be crafting together that you will read this in the morning. You'll read this much. And this is what I do. You'll go through these books and I'll sit and think, what is my soul hungering for right now? There's times I'm like, I'm hungering for the books I don't know well. So I might be like, this year, I'm going to read Ezekiel and I'm going to read Zechariah and all the ones with Z's in them because I don't know those as well as I know. It's funny, dude, because I went the other day. I did through the word on an Old Testament prophet. I had no idea I did it. And I'm like, why do I not remember doing that at all? Now, we know I have early onset dementia. We have talked about this.
That's not funny because maybe you do.
Well, that's the thing. But, one day we'll look back on this podcast and we'll laugh, Pete.
Well,
at least you will.
I will. You'll be like, I said, what?
I'll be like, who are you? Sorry, we're not laughing at dementia. It's just I have a very, very disturbed sense of humor. But anyways, all that to say, that's what I'll be doing. Like, for example, one of the things lacking in my life is worship. Like hymnody, like singing, and again, I'm old school, more old school than people realize. I think C.S. Lewis was right when he said most worship today is second-rate lyrics set to third-rate tunes. I can't stand a lot of worship. Now, my wife says, "Don't you dare say that in front of the girls, and don't say that. That's not right." Look, I don't want to crap on anyone else's worship.
I think I've shared this before, so. I was telling, as I've shared before on the podcast, I hate praise music. I hate it.
Yeah.
I can't stand it at all. And Jamie and I were talking one time, and I'm like, no one listens to that music except on Sunday morning.
Right.
And
right.
she goes, I do. And I was like, oh, that's right. You listen to that in your car.
My wife loves it. My wife loves it. And I got to say, I don't want to crap on it. It's just not for me.
Well, no, that's what I was saying. It's not for me. Clearly, it's for some people, just not me.
Absolutely. And you know what? Here's the thing is my family, like my kids, love, we have the Bad Religion Christmas album. And it is the most, kind of, here's the irony on this. The most Christ-glorifying Christmas album I own is by Bad Religion. It's their Christmas album. It is all the old hymns, Christmas hymns, set to punk.
Mine is that new Kanye West album.
That's a good album, dude. That's amazing.
Funny album. Like the one where it's off.
I know, at the end when he's arguing with his dad. Yeah.
No, that song closed on talking about Chick-fil-A.
Oh, yeah. There was the one where he's arguing with his dad at the end, and he's like, ah. But anyways, the Bad Religion one, they're singing it like a fight song, which if you've ever been in Wales and you've sung a hymn with Welsh people, they're called the Land of Song because those people know how to sing. I remember first
fiberglass. Fiberglass.
It is.
It's not COVID. It's fiberglass.
Next time we're in here, it's not going to be my throat. My throat's going to be fine, but there's going to be a very hollow sound here because it's all going to be brand new drywall, which it sounds like a tin box once you first drywall a house. So anyways, but they sing it like a fight song, like they sing it with power and conviction. And I'm just telling you, like, for me, so I will incorporate worship into my daily routine. I want to sing to God. And I don't always do that, but that is very intimate, right, for me. So I love to do that. My buddy, he reads 5 Psalms a day right now. It's actually, I say my buddy, it's my sitting pastor, Bill Welsh. He reads 5 Psalms a day on his walk every morning. And he goes, every month I've read the entire book of Psalms. And I'm like, how come I've never heard this before? Can you imagine getting 5 Psalms in you a day?
Yeah.
And every month you're reading the entire book of Psalms. Like, that's incorporating worship into your life. So on top of that, not only my own personal, but like my family. What do I want to do with my family? And I'm probably like most of you, where it's hit or miss with my family. I know people.
Wait, you hit your family?
No,
Okay.
never.
Sorry,
but never have spanked my kids. Never will. But here's the thing: is I literally spend, like we will, like right now we're doing the nativity. Our quiet time, we have this Advent calendar where there's these little books in it. And you take the books out and it's a portion of scripture. We'll read that every night. We typically will do Lego Bible stories. There's this guy that did the Bible and Lego reenactments, and it's really good. I can't remember the guy's name. We give him a shout out on here before. But I look at that with my wife. Sometimes I go through seasons where Andrew and I are really seeking the Lord together. And then I go through stretches where it's hit or miss. And that bothers me. If I'm honest, that bothers me. I think, well, why is that not a priority? And what'll happen is just like, because my schedule is all wonky sometimes, where like I have all these weird recordings or meetings or whatever, is there's not a set time. And I haven't prioritized a set time where I can do that. Or maybe Andrea goes and drops the kids off and she's like, I got to run to the store. And so there's not the normal time that we would do that. So I'm taking stock. How do I strategize to accomplish these things? So there goes me, my family, my friends. I need friends, and I need regular times of friendship. And I'm terrible at this, right? Friends, it's kind of like God gave you a spouse as a gift, and he's given you friendship is one of the greatest gifts on the planet. And you'll testify, I am a terrible, terrible friend, right?
But you're a good family man. That's what we decided. I'm a much better friend, but not nearly as good as a family man as you.
Yes, but I have to change this because part of it is I get so task oriented that I want, if Andrea goes out for the night, I think, ooh, I can accomplish them. Really? Like last night, I decided to get tasks done, and I was dying to watch Fat Man with Mel Gibson, the Christmas movie, right? Mm-hmm. Where he delivers presents and he shows up with bullet holes in him. Like, that's a Christmas movie I can get behind. But, so I rent that last night, and all week long I'm thinking.
You rented it? Did you watch it?
Or I bought it, actually, yeah. I watched the first 15 minutes. And
you were like, I know this is going to be good enough to buy.
It was $6.99. They didn't give me a rental option. It was $6.99 on Amazon.
Buy?
Yeah. So I was like, well, looks like I'm buying it because they won't let me rent it for $3.99. They made me buy it for $6.99. So Andrea was visiting her mom, and I was like, I really should be calling Bo Moffitt over here, because he lives down the road, and say, hey, and like with you, we ought to be watching 3D Avatar because I've never watched it. Right.
I just watched it the other day. I'm not going to watch it again. Sorry.
Oh, come on, dude. So anyways, is it that good though? Is that good? You watch it again?
Well, at this point, I've seen it so many times that I'm kind of done with it. It's just,
can I just come over to your house and watch it while you're working?
You know what? Reality is I don't have the 3D stuff hooked up anymore.
What?
I know.
I need another friend now.
Watch it on Disney Plus.
Hey, Friends with Boats. I should, huh?
Yeah.
It's right there, isn't it? But you told me
it's great in 3D.
Nothing like 3D. Avatar.
It's great in 3D. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you need to hook it up. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's a little too much work.
That's my Christmas present. You hook up 3D and we'll go watch that.
Why do I have to watch it with you? We're not.
No, you don't. No, just hook it up for me. That's all. Just get it ready for me and I'll show up. And you just work. And I don't even need you, man. I just need your 3D.
You know how many times I've heard that from my wife? I don't even need you, man. I
just give me that baby.
Just give me that baby. No, man.
I did. So bad. I went there. I'm so sorry.
That's so bad.
All right. Don't tell Jamie I said that. That's funny, though. All right.
Like she and I even talk. Don't worry about it.
So anyways, so here's the deal. I literally, so past that, there's the friend. So I want to up that, that's social. Now we're heading into like the social thing. But then on the work, it's funny. That right there is the last 10 years of my life. These are the goals of the next 10. These are the courses I want to do. Right? Like these are things that I literally sat and mapped out and thought about. If you're guys, I'm sorry about my throat, fiberglass. But if you're listening, I literally, I held up just now, like some things that I've been working on. Like I'll write this stuff out. And normally when we go away, I'll get up super.
It's the fiberglass. Why are you killing yourself?
I know. Well, I'm moving my office out of here.
Where's your mask?
Right here, man. Right here. Can I do a podcast in a mask?
What does it say?
It's covered California. They gave me a free one.
Oh my gosh. You communist.
I know. They gave it to me. I didn't even want to be on it. They go, Andrea goes, hey, I lost my sub job due to COVID-19. They're like, oh, will you get on our plans? They tried to, I'm like telling Andrea, don't get on it. You'll never get out. And they automatically started putting things in place. And we're like, no. We don't want to be on your plan.
Did it cost you anything?
I don't know. She called them and tried to put the halt to it. And we don't know what's going to happen. But anyways, all that to say, so I wonder if this will help my throat. Think it'll help me or hurt me? I think it's in there now. I think it's just in there. You're not saying anything. You're not helping me.
I have nothing to say to this. I can't. I actually keep thinking to myself, does he look like Cobra Commander? Like if we put like a blue thing over the top?
I totally do, dude. I totally do.
Cobra Commander's look.
Yeah, dude.
There you go.
Yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Where's your sunglasses? Where's your sunglasses?
Storm Shadow.
Put on your sunglasses. Put them on.
I don't have them.
What?
No, I don't have them. I have my daughter's iPod though.
You should have just done the whole thing with the Boba Fett hat on.
Okay.
Helmet.
I've had my coffee's kicked in by now. I can do this now.
There we go.
Ready? Wait for it.
What?
All right. So that's the only reason this post is here. All right. So back to what we were talking about. Sorry, guys. Those of you listening to the podcast are like, this is the worst podcast ever.
But you made it this far.
And you would be right. But that said, where was I? I was talking about goals and plans. So for work, I will schedule out and I will forward plan my year based on what projects that I want to accomplish. Now, I realize for those of you in church plants, you need to schedule out your calendar for the year. Like, and what I mean by that, and we've done whole episodes on this before. Don't wait till October to start planning whatever you're going to do on Halloween. Don't wait for Thanksgiving, November to hit to start thinking, dream about what kind of outreaches you want to do. Think about COVID, like spend time thinking about like COVID-19 right now. What does that mean for our church? What haven't we done? If I had no rules and I really want to reach people around me, or I want to really disciple the people in my congregation, what would it look like right now? What would I need to do? Now's a great time to be asking God to spark your creativity and imagination. Because I literally believe that mission is kind of like they say, necessity is a mother of invention. I literally believe that mission, when we're talking about the Lord, mission is the necessity of invention, right? Mission is where the greatest creativity in the church can come from. And that's for those of you that have been a part of any of the churches I've planted, that's actually what happens. Mission sparks the innovation, and Peter will attest to that. So be thinking about all those things and start planning now. Like when that 1 year we did Pictures of Santa, we planned that thing in advance, and we did a toy drive. Like I would plan our year in advance. When we did our October stuff, we joined this trunk or treat with the local school, and we planned the crap out of that thing. And they went to us and said, "You raised the bar." Like what we did is we went to the mothership and said, "Hey, now you guys run that summer camp thing. Your what do they call those?
Vacation Bible School?
Vacation Bible School." And they had like this Kung Fu Panda theme. Like, "Hey, can we borrow everything?" And they're like, "Yeah, we're done with that. We're not going to run it again." And we took all their crap from like the mega church. Like that's the kind of stuff you can do, but plan it out in advance and get super creative. So, so for your church plant, it may not be like me where it's projects and courses and stuff like that. But like New Breed is a network that I run. This year, this is the year of New Breed for me. I am going after it for New Breed. I have made a commitment to the Lord that I will no longer do anything that does not directly serve New Breed. I will not build someone else's course at the expense of New Breed. If I do something, build some course on the side, it serves New Breed. Even if it's someone else's, it's built into the contract. New Breed gets all this, or find someone else. Those are the kinds of things that I'm moving towards now. The coaching in New Breed, that's a network I run. Funny enough, we're getting more applications. Someone messaged me this week. They go, "Hey, Peyton, is New Breed, not to be offensive, but is New Breed still a thing? Because I'm getting ready to plant a church." And I'm like, "Oh, it's a thing. I just don't advertise it, but that's
by the way, is the secret to growth. No advertising.
Yes. Oh, yes, of course. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I actually am getting ready to do all that. I mean, so these are all things, but this will point the direction. And as I spend, a week or two every year, it's really 2 weeks, really intentionally thinking, reflecting, planning. I would say that a lot of the stuff that I get done is due to that. That's how I can spin different plates and what have you, is I'm planning things out. And I've always made this assertion that I know to you, Pete, you've even been like, "I don't think you move fast," but you see back a house. Like I have people all the time say, "Dude, how do you get all this crap done?" It's because I'm a reflective theorist. And Pete knows I take a long time to get busy, but I'm thinking about stuff and talking about stuff way in advance of doing it. So to Pete, because he's next to me, it looks slow. I seem slow. But if you don't know me, suddenly I'm popping out this and that and that. And you're like, dude, where does he have time to do this? How does he have time? Like right now, I'm running, I think, 4 podcasts. I produce 20 chapters a week. I'm starting to blog again. I'm editing a book. Like there's all this crap going on. I'm building New Breed like never before, but it's because I think about this stuff. And as a reflective theorist, it means that I have a huge runway before I actually take flight on this stuff. But it eventually will get done, so that's how my life works. So that to me is the importance of forward planning. What doesn't get planned doesn't get done. So hopefully that helps you guys.
Nice.
Yeah. And just real quick before we get off, one of the ways that you can do this, guys, is Michael Hyatt has a rad journal called the Full Focus Planner. Highly recommend it. You can get away in a cabin for a couple days if you don't want to spend, mornings over a few weeks or whatever. You don't want to get up early. Take a couple days, block out 2 days on your calendar and do it. Get Steve Erickson. He's a friend of mine on Facebook, listen to the podcast. He gets away and goes to a cabin and does it. And I love that. And he uses the Full Focus Planner, which is one of the reasons I like him. So, but anyways, plan out your reading, plan out all the books you want to read, even your recreation, plan out your recreation, plan out, where are you going to go? Plan your travel in advance, get your bucket list sorted, plan out your workouts. Do you want to work out? Plan it, don't leave it to, do it when I feel like it. Plan everything out. Plan dates. I literally just started planning innovative dates for me and my wife. Fun things for us to do. This is the crap I do. So hopefully that helps you guys. Try it. See how it goes and see what 2021 looks like, despite the world falling apart. So Pete,
let me ask you, while you're doing all this planning,
you beat me to it.
how do you take care of like your church's payroll? And, we're coming up on end of year. So you need all those tax receipts going out. And how do you do all that?
Pete, it's good that you mentioned that, because in addition to planning all this stuff out, I occasionally catch murders in my spare time. And that doesn't leave me a lot of time for other things. So I go to simplifiedchurch.com.
Wait, what was that again?
It's simplifiedchurch.com, Pete. They're a fast and innovative company that helps me do all my bookkeeping, IRS compliancy, and even payroll needs.
And who's the guy who runs that?
His name is Joshua Henry, my good fellow.
Wait, so he's got 2 first names? Josh Henry?
Josh Henry, not Henry Joshua, Josh Henry. And when you go to Josh Henry at simplifiedchurch.com, tell him Pete and Peyton sent you from the Church Planner podcast.
I love it.
You like that? Little extra elocution from friends there.
Sure.
Yeah. So, guys, thanks for listening today. This has been Peyton Jones and Pete Mitchell reminding you, if you want to reach the ones no one's reaching, you need to go where no one's going and do what no one's doing.
Thanks for joining us for another weekly episode of the Church Planner Podcast with Pete Mitchell and Peyton Jones. We'd love to hear your comments on this episode of the Church Planner Podcast. Visit us online and let us know what you thought at churchplannerpodcast.com. If you subscribe to us via iTunes and have enjoyed the podcast, leave us a positive review. The more positive reviews we receive in iTunes, the more iTunes will promote us to other church planners who would benefit from this show. This podcast is brought to you by the Church Planner Magazine, which is available in the iTunes newsstand or online via churchplannermagazine.com.